Okay, writers, what a day we got ahead. You are going to be doing a fast draft today. So I want to tell you what that is, give you a little bit of a demonstration, and then I'm going to pause the video and it'll kind of fast forward a little bit, and then you'll get a chance to see some of the final product of that fast draft. So first thing, the whole idea with a fast draft is to write and to write a lot. We've taken 2 days already to do some idea generating. We're thinking about events that have mattered to us or places that have mattered to us. And now we're going to start to move into this whole idea of, how can I put that together into a story? And we want to be a storyteller telling as many details as we can so that somebody can really feel what it was like for us when we were there in that place. So what we're going to be doing today, you're going to be looking back in your journal, picking one of the things that you haven't written about yet. And you're going to put a star next to it. You're going to go to your next available page in your writing journal. And then you are going to write. And you're going to write as much as you possibly can. My challenge to you is, can you get a full page? Can you get 2 full pages? If you're skipping lines, maybe you could even get to 3 pages. So let's see what happens right here. All right, so I've got my writing journal out. On my next available page, I've written fast draft number 1, and I put our date on there. You don't need to put the goal on there. I put it on there for me because it's a nice reminder as to, and for all of you to see what exactly we're trying to do today. We're trying to write as much as we can about an event in a place or an event. Remember, it's not just describing the place, it's like that event that's either connected to something I remember or a place that I remember. So going back through mine here, I think what I'm gonna focus on is this idea of Legoland. And that's something that I remember from being in San Diego. Okay. So let's find out what that's gonna look like. When I go in here to my journal, the things that I want to be thinking about are I want to put on here who, I'm gonna talk about what happened, when might work, might do a little bit of kind of the how. Okay. And then underneath it here for me, I'm going to put feel. You don't necessarily need to have these things on here, but it would help you just a little bit so you know what we're talking about. You want to make sure that you include these as you go. You can kind of check them off. Feel, when we're talking about feel, we're talking about that sense of smell. We're talking about the taste if we were eating something. Was it salty? Was it sweet? Um, when we talk about feel, we might think about texture. We might also talk about emotion, talk about feeling, talk about the emotions we feel when we got to somewhere. And when we talk about this idea of feeling, our senses here, we might talk about the what we see. Okay, so these are all kind of our sense emotions and what we want to be able to include in here. So as I come down here, oh, and hearing, sorry, we got all of these the feelings coming from what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, that texture. They generate these emotions. Okay. So as I come down here, I'm going to put on top of this, I'm going to put Legoland. And I'll show you how I'm going to start. Then I'm going to pause and let you do some writing. And you can actually fast forward a little bit and you'll be able to see what my ending is. So here, I'm going to start with Legoland. I'm going to start a little bit of this idea of when, kind of the when and the who, people kind of going on here. So it was spring break of Nolan's kindergarten year. This was the first time we had gone as a family off on a trip for spring break. So it gives people a little bit of this idea of context here. They understand what's happening. So I know a little bit of when, kind of when. I might come back to it a little bit more. I don't know who yet. Um, Mrs. Hanson, Nolan, and I had flown down to San Diego. We needed to escape the cold, the cold spring, cold, I should put rainy, cold, rainy spring up in Seattle. San Diego was almost always, let's a little bit more for us, was almost always sunny and warm. Sounds amazing. I'm gonna pause right here and let you, if you're ready to work, I want you to go get yourself started. Give us a little bit of that who and that when, and write as much as you can about that place. Then make sure to come back to see what what the rest of mine looks like. All right, so I got down to writing, and I just sat down for probably about a good 15 minutes or so, just getting my ideas down on paper. I went back and I reread it a little bit as well, and I still have more to add. So on here, I went with all of these here, my feelings and things I could smell and see, and I wanted to bring those to life for you on the page. So I've got this first part here where I start talking about the going on the trip to spring break down to San Diego, and then as I get down to the end here, I start to transition to more specifically into Legoland. And in here, as you keep going, you can see that I said, while we're there, we're going to head to Legoland. So it gets a little bit more focus. Tells a little bit of why about his love of Legos and building different creations, different things that sprung to life. And then the fact that it was his birthday. So it gives a little bit of the why piece in here, which I didn't include up above. As I'm going, when we arrived at the park, it looked gigantic, right? I want to include like, didn't just want to say big, but thinking about the words that I use and how I put them together. I'd never seen a parking lot so big or so full. People streamed to the gates of the park and it only made us more anxious to get in. I included even down below a little quote that Nolan has in here. This that he'd said, and it's I don't remember exactly whether he said that, but it seemed like he did. I can kind of vivid remember him saying something as we are trying to get up there, but I put in there, "Come on, mom and dad, we need to get inside." It's okay if it's slightly different than maybe it was actually in real life, but it's just how you remember it. And again, I continue on here. And as I keep going, I could have told a whole lot more. I even focused in onto one part of that day, which is when we were getting ready to ride that Technic roller coaster, where there's this big drop. And that would be kind of my big finish here. The feeling that it was like on there, the look on his face, and how that made me feel. So as you're writing today, I want you to write as much as you can. Can you get 2 pages? Can you get three? Can you go even further? And think about how it is that you're going to be able to paint that picture so somebody can close their eyes and see you, whether it's at a soccer field or with a grandma or grandpa, a place that you went, and really being able to picture it in their minds.